Welcome back! Last time we got a small glimpse of the world of Mega Man Battle Network. Today we're going to finally explore the net. Let's go! And here we are, the internet. Well, not quite. This is actually just our homepage, or rather LAN's homepage. As you'll see later, different characters have their unique homepages. In our case, ours is nothing special, so let's just talk to the program here and move on. This is the inside of your computer. From here, you can access the net and other terminals. You can jack out at any time by pressing the R button. Indeed we can. Now here, this is actually the internet. Looks nice. Nice background. The colors could be a bit better, but I'm sure we'll have some more variety as we continue to explore it. And who's this guy right here? Oh, Mega Man. My name is Glide. I am Lan's classmate's Yai's NetNavi. One of Yai's programs has gotten lost. I'm pretty sure that it's somewhere in the net around here. I have some pressing chores to do and must return now. Mega Man, if you happen to find our program, could you please come by our network here? Please take this. And we got the access code to Yai's homepage. If you use that at the proper place on the net, you will be able to access Yai's portrait network. I'll be there. Oh, and if you could keep this matter to yourself, thank you. So yeah, this guy. Neat design, and we already saw what Gutsman looks like. We haven't seen Male's NetNavi, but hey, that's 2 out of our 3 classmates. I'm just hoping that we can find this, that we can actually fight Glide soon enough. I'm sure it will happen later. So let's quickly explore, and well, we already have a random encounter. And I guess I can just, yeah, that should do. So, since this was actually a proper fight, we got a busting level. In this case it was 7, and we got a new chip. So, I will be going over any new chips by the end, but for now let's actually just equip this one. So, as you saw, we can access folder. Here we have all our different chips. If you press start, you can sort them out by alphabet, code, attack, element and quantity. In this case, let's just quickly equip our shockwave. I think we can get rid of 1 recovery. We have a healthy amount already. So I was hoping to run into something there, but I guess not. But there is something I do want to show you right there, as soon as we're done with the metals here. So, there's something that I want to do, that's why I was letting that metal leave. Okay. There we go. So, busting level 8, even though we took our sweet time actually winning that fight. And we got another shockwave. Let's actually switch them out with recovery for now. I won't be doing this for every single one. I just want to have a few right now. So this place. It looks like a connection to another terminal. However, you don't know the address, so you can't open it. So this will be the access to a different portrait network, similar to Yai's, but we don't have the key, so we'll leave it at that for now. Hey, finally at least a new enemy. So, you may recognize this enemy from the actual portrait of Cannon. This is the Cannon virus. One other thing, looking by the way it attacks, it seems as though it actually shoots in a straight line. It doesn't. If you move fast enough, you can dodge the attack, as I have been doing. I didn't do it there, but whatever. Alright, finally, I was looking for this. Mega Man accessed the mystery data. Mega Man got 200 Sunny. I wish it was 2000. So, let's go over the mystery data and what exactly they are. You can think of them as treasure chests, basically. In this game they come in 3 different colors. Green, as the one we just obtained, blue and purple. Now, the color in this game does not mean anything at all. It does in later games. You can really just divide the mystery datas in 2 types. Regular mystery datas, which are the ones that respawn after you leave an area by checking in and out. They basically can provide you, if they give you a battle chip, it will be one from a list of 4 possible chips, and they can give you a value of Zenny from a list of 4. Now, that description applies to how the green mystery datas work in later games. Because of that, anytime that I'm talking about a regular mystery data, I will refer to them as green mystery datas or GMD. Now, the other type of mystery data is the one-time mystery data. They are unique. After you obtain them, they will never reappear. If they happen to have Zenny, it will be a higher amount of Zenny. If they happen to have a battle chip, it will be a more unique battle chip. And they can also have key items or power-ups or other upgrades. Now, because that description fits the blue mystery datas, I will be referring to the one-time mystery datas as blue or BMD. Now, finally, the purple ones. They are almost identical to the blue ones in later games, only they require an extra step. You need to buy a key to unlock them. That key does not exist in this game, and in fact, the purple mystery data may as well not exist as well. But yeah, that's about it. Also, I will be showing on the right side of the screen, right next to the green mystery data icon, all the different chips that you can get from it. As well as one single value of Zenny. Even though I mentioned that there are 4, I will always show you the highest possible. Meaning that in this area, the most Zenny that you can get from a green mystery data is 1000. As for the blue, it's actually a chip that we cannot get right now, unfortunately. I'm really hoping that we can run into a stronger, or a new enemy at least, because I'm getting a bit tired of fighting metals. Okay, we got a new chip. That one I will not put in my folder, I'll explain why later. World 3 Plin needed to unlock. All others, be gone! The World 3 pin, huh? Mega Man, let's deal with that later. So yeah, unfortunately behind this door would be the one blue mystery data in this area, so it will be a while before you can actually get it. And here we have Shotgun K, nice. I'm a net merchant, wanna see my wares? Sure. What will you buy? So we can get a description for every item. In this case, HP memory, increases your total HP by 20 points. Power up, powers up your Mega Buster. So let me quickly go back and explain what that means. If you go to the Mega Man option here we have our stats. Buying a power-up will allow you to upgrade either one of those stats. The armor there, that's important for later, but for now we'll ignore it. Also, Mega Man has a level that goes up as you obtain more HP memories or more power-ups. So let's look at what else this guy is on sale. So we already saw that. White Sword, we're already familiar with that. Spreader is a new chip. However, don't buy it, you're about to get one from free real soon. Hammer, this is actually also a new chip and not one that you can get as a drop from enemies, so I would suggest that you do eventually buy it. I'm not going to do it right now, because it's not really one chip that I reuse, but I'll explain how it works later nonetheless. Recovery 50, it's a stronger version of Recovery 10. And Cannon C, you maybe wonder why is Cannon C the most expensive one, right now at least, even though it's a chip that we already have. Well, it actually all has to do with the code. You may have noticed that we have codes A and B, and we can actually get Cannon D in this area, but not C. So why is it important that we actually buy Cannon C? Well, first I want to leave the store because the music is making me lose my mind. So, why is Cannon C important? Because it actually ties into a mechanic in the games that is never fully explained, you never get a proper tutorial for it. It's not a necessary mechanic in the sense that you can play through the story mode of any of the mainline network games and never need it at all. But you need to use it in later games if you want to go for 100% completion. So what is this mechanic? It is called a program advance. Basically, if you combine specific chips in specific orders, they fuse together into a stronger chip or a stronger attack. Now, what happens if we combine Cannon A, B and C? We unlock the very first program advance in the whole game, and that is called Zeta Cannon 1. So how does it work? Well, basically it allows you to spam the Cannon chip for 5 seconds, as much as you can, and for those 5 seconds you're completely immune to any and all damage. So, sounds pretty good, right? I mean, being able to spam that for 5 seconds is pretty good, you don't have to worry about taking any damage. And it is pretty good, and you can get it before the first proper boss fight. I don't count Gutsman. That being said, don't buy it. Your 3000 Zenny is much better spent either buying some HP memories or power-ups. The Zeta Cannon 1 is not that useful against the upcoming boss, and you can get one for free later, and not that much later. As for program advances, there are 3 types, technically 5, but of the first 2 types they each have an upgraded version, so that makes 4. So if you break them down into how they function, I would say that there are 3. One is Zeta, as I just mentioned. I will go into the other ones as we unlock them, but for now we already have access to the first program advance. I'm really getting tired of fighting Metals. Can we find another enemy? There are a few other enemies in this area. Glide, come find me! Lan, this must be the lost program. You're right, Mega Man, go tell Glide. He's in Yai's Portrait Network, right? Okay. So, we actually went past Yai's Portrait Network, but before we go there I want to explore the remainder of the area. So similar to what we saw earlier, this is another homepage that we have no access to. It says, Dex PC, get out. This means you. You don't have access rights. Looks like we'll have to get permission from Dex before we can go through. So this is odd. This is not an access to Dex homepage, as that would imply, but rather to more parts of the net. Somehow Dex, a high schooler, or preschooler actually, has access to Gateway, a part of the net. I don't know how that works, but apparently that's how it is. Now, we found the program. He'll stay there, but we just need to go back and talk to Glide. Okay, finally we got Shockwave, and I can show how it works. You probably already know, because, well, we've seen the Metals use it and Gutsman as well. But yeah, very useful. It can go through multiple enemies, as you saw. Very good chip. Mega Man accesses Yai's computer. It connects to the terminal. And we bookmark Yai's portrait. You can now freely enter here. Yep. So yeah, nice area, nice background. You can tell that it's all about the money with Yai. Ah, you found our program. Where is it? Okay, got it. Thank you. Please take this as a reward. And we got a chip for Spreader Eye. See? We got it for free. Hey, cool! Lan, let's go see Mom finish making us a snack. So before we do that, we can actually explore this area, and I do want to because there's one new enemy that was also present in Internet 1, but we somehow managed to avoid it. Okay, there it is, finally. And I kind of wish that we had a better chip than swords, but we can deal with it that way. There we go. Now we just have to wait very slowly as we hack away. There we go. Hey, we got a new chip. This is really what I wanted to see here, there's nothing more to see. This is a good spot to fight that flying enemy that we just encountered, because it and Cannon are the only enemies in this area. So if you want to grind cannons or the chip that you can get from that enemy, this is a good place to do it. Now, we can just jack out. Now, we could go see what Mom has prepared, but I actually want to go back in real quick. Because, well, if you recall at the very beginning of the video, I mentioned that our homepage is nothing special. That was a bit of a lie, because there's actually a few virus encounters here. One is for the metals, which we have fought already, but we have two new viruses here, and I really hope that we can run into them. That's one, great. And the trickiest one out of the two. Okay, so this enemy right here, very annoying to fight this early on. As you can see, he will not stand in front of you. He's very good at avoiding damage, and he has an ability to heal other viruses. Because he's alone here, you can tell. And he's very fast. I locked out there, I actually managed to hit him, but it's very easy to miss the timing. So that's one, but there's one more enemy that I want to show you. Nope, not what I was looking for. Oh, but I can show something. So, mini bomb is actually rather useful against this enemy, or it can be, if you time it properly. What I do is I usually just throw it to when he's not facing me, and then hope... Okay, it didn't work there, but it can work that way. But yeah. This enemy is rather annoying this early on. If you have White Sword, that is great for him. Outside of that, you can just try Mini Bomb as I showed you. There we go. So, one other thing before we go back to the homepage. You may have noticed that I took some damage. I believe it was around 75 or 70 HP. And yet, you'll notice as soon as we go into the next battle that, well, we're fully healed. Battle number 1 fully heals you after every battle, which makes recovery chips not as useful as they are in later games. So yeah, that's why you probably won't see me using any recovery chips. But onto a more important subject, we found the missing virus. As you saw, they can basically stomp on you and they will crack a panel, which can make them rather annoying, especially later on as they become even stronger. So I want to use area grab here, but to show you something, not so much, there we go. As you saw, the panel that he was standing on did not get stolen, but he took some damage. So that is the trade-off. Enemies can block area grab, but they do take a small amount of damage. Oh, we actually got a Quake 1 chip. I was not expecting that. Alright, so that's all the new enemies here. Let's actually leave the area. So, now, we could technically go and talk to Mom and see if she repairs something for us, but I want to go over a few things. First of all is the Bastion rank. We saw a few fights, we got a few different Bastion ranks, but I actually want to go into what factors go into your Bastion rank. Now, there are 4 different factors, at the very least for regular virus encounters. The first one is the virus delete time. It's a bit different if you're going against a boss fight, but for now let's go over the regular viruses. I will be showing on screen how many points you get depending on how long it takes you to win the fight. Up next we have the flinch/damage factor. Basically every time you take damage that forces Mega Man to do that animation where he's bracing himself, that will deduct points. Up next we have movement, which is a bit of a weird one. Basically, if you win the fight by moving no more than 2 spaces, you get an extra point. This is the one factor that never deducts from you. And winning a fight by moving less than 2 times might seem excessive, but it can be done, especially later on once you obtain chips that allow you to basically attack the entire screen without moving at all. So if you add up the 3 factors that I went over, you may notice that we only got a score up to 9. Yet the Bastion rank can go up to 10, and then any extra point gives you an S rank. So how do you get the remaining points? Well, for that we have to go into the final factor, which is the multiple deletion. Basically, if you delete 2 viruses at the exact same time or near the exact same time, you get extra points. If you do it to 2 viruses, you get 2 points. If you do it with 3, you get 4. Now, this early on, there are some chips that can be used for that. For example, you saw how I used Shotgun to take out 2 meteors at the same time. You can also use another chip that I will explain in a moment that is very good. Shockwave is fast and it can attack pierce through enemies, but it is not fast enough to get you a double delete in most cases. Now, before we end things up here, I actually want to quickly go over all the chips that we have seen thus far, even the ones that we haven't technically obtained. I want to go over the ones that we could technically obtain, either by buying them from the net merchant or by getting them as enemy drops. So let's do this in order. Also, quick disclaimer, the information that I'm about to show on the right side of the screen, it comes from my own experience of playing the game, as well as some information that I found in a few different guides and other websites online. Now, am I saying that it is 100% accurate? No, of course, I could have easily made a mistake, and if I did, please let me know. Put a comment below and I'll be more than happy to make any corrections in future videos, or even a large video with any corrections by the end of the series. So let's do this. So, Canon. Pretty much self-explanatory. What I do want to bring up is, you may notice that Canon E, which is the only one that we technically don't have access to, it says that you can obtain it from a chip shop. Now, the chip shop is not the same as the net merchant. The chip shop is an actual physical store in the real world that we will unlock later. The owner of said store is a bit of a spoiler, so I'm going to leave that as a secret. Also, you may notice the small PA icon right next to the chip codes. That is because any time that I go over a chip that has any code that may be used for a program advance, I'll put that icon there to let you know. Up next, Shotgun. Very fast, it deals 30 damage, and if it lands on an enemy, it will automatically attack the same panel right behind that enemy. Now, you may also see that it says Chip Trader. That is a mechanic that we haven't encountered this far, but I'll just want to explain it real quick. It is basically a machine that if you put in 3 or 10 chips, it will give you a new chip randomly. Up next, Crossgun. Pretty much the same, only in a cross-shaped pattern. Spreader. The ultimate version of the shotgun line. Basically, if it hits an enemy, it will spread to all panels around that enemy. If that enemy happens to be in the dead center of the screen, then it will attack the entire area. Mini Bomb. Good damage, a bit slow, not as useful later on when we encounter enemies that move around a lot. Sword, good amount of damage but very low range. Also, you may notice that it says Swordy on the one of the codes. Swordy is actually the name of the virus that drops a few different sword chips. So we'll be running into those quite a lot. They are very prominent in the series. White Sword, same damage as Sword but much better range, very useful for double or even triple deletes. Very useful against the ghost viruses, which are actually called Spookies. Shockwave, good amount of damage, 60 damage is great this early on. It can go through multiple enemies, so good chip. Not fast enough to get you a double delete in most cases, but still useful. Quake, similar to Minibomb, a bit slower because of the animation, but it deals almost 100 damage and it cracks panels. It gets even better later on when the area of attack expands. Dash, we didn't actually get to see this one, but it's an amazing chip. Only deals 50 damage, which may not seem like a lot, but it goes through enemies, it's very fast, it can guarantee you a double delete, that's how fast it is. And you really want Dash G. It's very useful later on, and you can use it, you can farm it on Yai's homepage. X panel, we've seen this one, you can use it to destroy one panel. If you happen to use it on a panel that an enemy is standing, the panel will not be destroyed, but the enemy will take 10 damage, similar to what happens with Area Grab. Hammer. It has a very short range, but it deals 100 damage, which is a good amount of damage. There's a better version of Hammer much later on in the series, in the game. But we will be able to obtain another chip that deals 100 damage as well and has a much better range soon enough, so I personally don't use it. Medguard. So, this one will allow you to block an attack. As long as you hold the A button, you don't take any damage, but it only lasts about 2 to 3 seconds. And you can miss the timing. Not particularly good. It doesn't allow you to move or attack or do anything else outside of defending. There are much better chips in this game that allow you to avoid damage while also attacking yourself. That being said, make sure that you get 30 Medguards A. You need a full folder worth of the chip for later. Now, the recovery chips. Not much else to say about them, pretty self-explanatory. One thing that I want to point out, which you may have noticed if you played any Battle Network game outside of one, is that in this game, for whatever reason, anytime that you use them, they actually freeze time, similar to the Navi chips. In later games they do not, which I think was a wise decision because otherwise they interrupt combat a bit too much. Steal/area grab, we know how this works. If it lands on an enemy, it doesn't steal the panel, but it takes 10 points of damage. Escape. It allows you to escape from any fight, outside of story fights of course. And finally, Invisibility 1, which you get from the ghost viruses. It gives you immunity for about 5 to 6 seconds, which is about half the time it takes for the custom gauge to fill out. You can move, you can attack, and you can use chips for that time. So amazing, much better than Medguard. Oh, I want to quickly go back to Medguard. I forgot something. Medguard gets much better in later games because it actually allows you to reflect attacks back at enemies. So it's only bad in Battle Network 1. It gets better from 2 onwards. Alright, going back to Invis 1. Even if you're not going to use it, make sure that you get 3 Invis 1 eyes, because they will be necessary for later. And that's it. Thank you for staying with me through that whole rant. So that's about it. That's all the chips that we have been able to obtain or get at this point. So next time we'll go talk to Mom and see if she prepares something nice for us. Thank you for watching.